See, we're doing things a lot different this year than we typically do. For some of you, this is your first time. Well, it may not be different, but for the rest of us, we usually have this over in a bigger auditorium where we have, a bunch of family members come in and all other members of the organization get here. And then after we have refreshments, which is some of my favorite parts. But this year, with the pandemic the way it is, we have to do a little different. But I don't want that to lessen the importance of what this represents and the recognition and stuff that the people are going to get honored for tonight. But again, although we're limited in the amount of people that's here, we're doing something also for the first time. We're streaming this live. So hopefully you send out the information to your family members and your loved ones that want to take an opportunity to look at this as well. So this is our inaugural event on streaming this live. So maybe from now on we can do that as well, so we can kind of have it for the future. But anyway, so just welcome again. I hope you enjoyed what we're going to do tonight. And at this time, I'm going to ask firefighter driver Jeffrey Allen, who is also our chaplain, to come up and lead us in the invocation as well as the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Kind and gracious Heavenly Father, God, as we come to you tonight, God, we come with grateful hearts, God, grateful that you have blessed us with such an organization as this to have a career, and grateful that you have placed a calling upon our lives, that we lay our own lives aside, God, to protect others and serve others. And God, as we go into this night, God, those that have been brought on board and newly brought on board with us here, I pray, God, that you will just guide them, that you will give them the wisdom they need, God, in order to continue on and carry on this lifestyle and this career. And God, for those that are gathered here, I pray you will just allow them to be help and in times that they may need it. And God, a special prayer for our new chief. I pray, God, that you will just have your hand upon him and give him the discernment, God, and the guidance and the courage he needs, God, just to stand strong as he leads this department. And pray, God, that he will lead well. Thank you for everything, and we'll be careful to give you praise, honor, and the glory for it all. In Jesus, I love you. Amen. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, well, the first thing that we're going to do tonight in recognition is to recognize a retired member. Now, this one's kind of unique in the form that although he's retiring from the fire department, he's still very much working for the city. Matter of fact, he's all of our bosses. But the person I'm talking about, of course, is Chief Randall Osterman. Chief Osterman started in the fire service back in 1981, which was quite a few years ago. But anyway, during that time, he served in many different positions in different states. He came to us in 2008 as the chief of the department. Through his tenure, up until he turned city manager here just recently, we saw a lot of success in our organization. A lot of things happened, such as, we built a Station 5. We staffed it with members, so we got more personnel. We upgraded all of our apparatus, upgraded our air packs, turnout gear. A lot of things that we got a training center that came about that's still in process now that a lot of people come and use. And then also we achieved ISO Class 1, which is the lowest and actually the best rating that you could get for a fire service agency. So with all that, you had to wonder, what drove him to do this and what was behind all this. And I'm sure he had the motivation to do it just because he loved the city and loved the people he was working for. But, at some point in time, he had to look, and had to be the members that was supporting him, but primarily a deputy chief, And I don't want to talk about that guy too much, but, call no names, but it was me. So enough about that. But he did, through his leadership and his guidance, we have saw a lot of positive change in our organization. And he has brought us from a place that we were kind of complacent and kind of unknown to a place that we've established that we're a very well-respected organization now. And so I'm going to ask him now if he will just come up, receive his plaque and his helmet, and then if he wants to, say a few words. Chief Foster. And then here's the plaque. The plaque just reads an appreciation for all dedicated service from 3 of 08 to 5/3 2010, 2020. Give him a round of applause.
I want to say a few words. Being the astute public speaker that I am, sure, I want to say a few things. It's funny. For the last 8 years, I guess, as we've hosted the retirement recognition program, I stood up here and I said, I really envy those people who are being recognized for the retirement. And I thought, man, I can't wait to get in that position. Well, I'm not sure I did this right. So I retired from the fire department, and I basically moved 55 steps diagonally across the third floor to the city manager's office. So I'm pretty sure I did something wrong. But I would like to say that when I came here 12 years ago, we were a struggling fire department, and we had a lot of issues, and there was a lot of need. What we really had, though, that was positive was the strength of the men and women of the organization. I didn't think that would choke me up. But because of their willingness to just listen, to accept some of the things that this outsider had to say, we moved this department to a very well-respected professional organization. And for that, I appreciate you. Thanks.
All righty. Well, I told him when he moved to city manager, it would be very difficult not to call him chief. So I doubt I'll ever stop doing that. Well, the next thing on our agenda, I think, if I can get it out of here, is awards recognition. And for that, I'm going to ask Assistant Chief DeLong if he would come up and make this presentation.
On the evening of December 1st, 2019, the Florence Fire Department was dispatched to a reported structure fire with possible entrapment of an elderly male. Engine 121 arrived on scene to find a working fire with flames visible from the alpha side of the residence. The crew entered the structure with a hand line. Captain Gary Dix began a primary search of the residence while firefighter Locke Wynn advanced the line to the fire room and began extinguishment. After extinguishing the fire, firefighter Wynn found the occupant in the fire room. Firefighter Wynn then reported that he had found the occupant and removed him to the front porch of the structure to a waiting member of the Florence County EMS. The occupant was checked out by EMS and declined transport to the hospital. Firefighter Wynn's actions on this call led directly to the saving of a life, and he is hereby awarded the Florence Fire Department's Life Saving Award.
Congratulations again to Locke for what he did, and also the guys that performed well that night. You know, the fire service is all about a team effort. Locke couldn't have did what he did without everybody else doing what they done. You know, a lot of times the guys that, you know, sometimes two people go in the same way. One turns left, one turns right, one gets the grab, one doesn't. But they couldn't do it without the people that's pumping the truck or the people that's commanding the scene. So it's all together. It's a huge team effort, and I just appreciate all the men and women of our organization that step up to do that. Now, this time I'm going to ask Battalion Chief Glover to come up, and we're going to recognize all the new hires that recently have been here.
badge pinning. It's a proud tradition within the fire department, marking not only promotions, but also welcoming new members to the department. Now, one would wonder, why would we recognize a new member? But as probationary firefighters, they have already completed quite an arduous process to make it to this point. Besides the hundreds of hours of trainings and certifications, along with the experience they bring, they've also completed a very competitive testing process. Before being hired, the probationary firefighter has successfully taken a written exam, physical agility tests, panel interviews, and of course a chief's interview, along with rigorous background checks. So now we'd like to recognize our new members to the City of Florence Fire Department. First one we'd like to recognize is Mr. Tanner Davis. Mr. James Vardell. Mr. Chad McCann. Mr. Tyler Cusack. And Mr. Robert Coker.
All right, for this last badge pin, I'm gonna ask Chief Osterman if he'd come back up and say a few nice words.
Let's see if I can do this better than the last one. Maybe because I'm talking about Shannon, it'd be easier. So, the fire chief is a very important position in our city management staff. And he or she is the person that sets the direction, the tone, and the feeling of the department. And Shannon Tanner is probably the hardest working fire chief I've worked with in my career. He has worked hard to obtain this position. And as city manager, it was a very easy choice for me to make. So tonight I say, congratulations, Chief. Welcome to our team.
All righty, well, thank you. Well, in closing, I want to just make a few comments. If I didn't take this opportunity, I think I've been missing out on a wonderful opportunity. I'd like to start off primarily talking to the new members. I'd like to say that I sat where you sat one day, but technically I really didn't. I was kind of raised up in the fire service. I just kind of grew up knowing about it and didn't know any other thing than that. But at one time I did have my first day here, and I did have my my first fire call. I had my first ride on a truck for the city, you know, and then I started developing some friendships and meeting the people around here. And during those early years, I met people that inspired me to do things, to try harder, to train harder, to work harder, all those kind of things. And it showed me the meaning of really caring for each other. And you've seen that among that group. Well, over the years, it seems like that some of that caring for each other and looking out for each other has kind of changed a little bit systematically throughout the fire service, but I didn't see it change much here. So it's still strong. And the reason I know it's strong is the people that inspired me, the people that I developed friendships with, you know, they're sitting right behind me now. And we'll always be friends and inspire each other and work it out. But I know they care. And a lot of them, they're the leadership of the organization now, so I know they care for you. And with that, when you care, you have the ownership part, and you want to try harder, you want to work harder, you want to train harder. And you want to train not because there's some agency out there that sets some numerical standards. You got to have 20 hours a week or 20 hours a month rather, and those kind of things. You want to train because you want to be the best you can be. You know, not to meet some arbitrary rule that you have to do or try to make your captain happy or whatever because you're doing it. You want to train because you want to be that person, you know, that when somebody's having a bad day, especially one of your friends that's on the truck with you and they need some help, you need to be able to help them. You know, just don't be complacent. Don't get to the point that well, I got it all figured out. When you do, that's when it's dangerous. So work hard, train hard, let people inspire you, push each other. That's the whole name of the game. You know, I'm very proud that you're here. I'm very proud that you chose the fire department in Florence to try to make a career. You know, I'm glad you're on board. And I'm tickled, and I hope that you have a long, healthy, happy career here. And I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen for you. If I could give you just a few little pieces of advice, a few little words of advice, that I know that if you follow these things, you'll be successful. And when I say successful, that doesn't mean you're going to be chief somewhere. It doesn't mean this. It means you're going to be successful as a firefighter in the fire service. First thing, learn from other people and learn something every day. You know, there's a lot of knowledge that we have in this organization, a ton, from everybody, from the newest guy to the oldest guy. You can always learn something. And make it a point that every day you come to work, that you learn something. If it's nothing but a piece of equipment, if it's nothing but a street, you learn something every day. Second thing is, ask the question why. Now, I want to clarify that. When somebody tells you, hey, go sweep the floor, why? No, that's not the why I'm talking about. I'm talking about the why so you can gain understanding of why we do the things we do. If you don't understand the why, then you can't apply it in the future. You know, why do you tie a rope this way? Why do you stack a hose this way? Why do you do these simple things, not just because somebody tells you, but understand the concepts behind it and the reasons why. That's important. It's very important. Third thing, understand that we have to depend on each other. You can't do anything by yourself. We have no lone rangers here. We have to work together. Everything we do depends on somebody else. When you're riding backwards, like you're doing right now, you have to depend on the guy to get you there that's driving the truck. You know, he has to know the streets. You had to have the officer to make the right decisions. You had to have your backup man to do the other things. We had to depend on each other all the time. So understand that. And lastly, please focus on the positives. You can find negativity anywhere you want to. You can find something negative about this right now, what we're doing, if you want to, if you search hard enough. But look, focus on the positives. Stay positive. I don't care who's around you, you stay positive. And again, don't get complacent. Complacency kills. Don't get to the point that you think that you got it all figured out and you know it all, because nobody does. The day that I figure I got it all, that I know everything, I'm retiring because I become dangerous then. You got to make sure you understand all those things and constantly stay aware and always challenge yourself to be better. You know, if you do those things, I promise you success. There's not a whole lot of guarantees in this world, but I can guarantee you if you do those few things right there, you'll be successful at what you do, because then you'll own it and you'll try harder and you'll work harder. And with that, you will be successful. Thanks for being here. For all of you that are watching on the the live streaming. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you tuning in for this as well. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and God bless you. I appreciate you being here. Other than that, thank you.
And I'm glad you met him, because I was gonna kiss him if I pinned him. I was gonna lay it on him.